Is Chicago's housing market in freefall? Is it a crisis? Let's hang on and look at the data because it's telling us something completely different than what you're hearing from the mainstream media. While the city is cooling down and giving condo buyers more negotiating power, there's a suburban war happening right now. And most people, they don't have any idea about it or how they can benefit from the situation. But this shift is creating new ways of negotiating, leveraging buying power, and changing the ways that people look at their housing options. Today, I'll tell you about all the numbers and what they mean for your real estate decisions in the Chicagoland area. Plus, I'll share my insider tips for a better sell or buy in this wavy market. Come with me. So here's what nobody saw coming about Chicago's 2025 market shift. Basically, in the city of Chicago, we're looking at single-family home prices that rose just 6.3% in February 2025 compared to February 2024. That's a dramatic slowdown from the double-digit gains that we were seeing just 2 years ago. Condos did a bit better at 7.5%, but we're still talking about a market that's clearly shifting gears. And sales volume in the city, it dropped 12% year over year for single-family homes. At the same time, inventory is down 15.5%, with days on market shortened by 10.6%. So we've got fewer homes selling, but the ones that are on the market are moving faster. This tells us that buyers are being more selective, but when they find what they want, they're moving quickly. And I'll show you exactly which suburbs are seeing the most intense bidding wars, but first you need to understand why the city market is giving buyers more power right now. While the city has cooled down, many suburbs are reporting less than 3 months of available homes for sale. I'm talking about places like Naperville and Oak Brook, where home values increased by around 11% year over year in early 2025, and 7.1% respectively. Listings in Naperville are disappearing in around 14 days, sometimes faster, with just 1.5 months of supply. We're talking about bidding wars that would make your head spin. If you're looking in the city right now, particularly at condos, you have more negotiating power than you've had in years. Downtown condos are facing around 20% fewer listings than a year ago, but the ones that are available, they're staying on the market longer. The thing is, if you're house hunting in the suburbs, especially in these popular Southwest and Western communities, you better come prepared for a battle. I'll show you why and later on share some tips on how you can navigate these shifts. But first, a quick favor. If you enjoy this type of breakdown, smash that subscribe button. I've been helping families for over 5 years, and I'm here to help you build your legacy through real estate. So keep coming back for more info on the Chicagoland real estate market. The migration story is also important, but everyone's talking about half the picture here. The other half changes everything for buyers and sellers. Let's address the elephant in the room. Illinois experienced a net loss of over 56,000 residents to other states through domestic migration between 2023 and 2024. We've got the largest outflows to Indiana, Florida, and Wisconsin. Why? High property taxes and cost pressures, and honestly, anyone who's looked at their tax bill knows exactly what I'm talking about. But here's what the headlines don't really tell you. Not everyone in Illinois is leaving Chicagoland. Many families leaving the city are choosing southwest suburbs like Frankfort, Mokena, and New Lenox, Lamont, LaGrange. They're drawn by these newer homes, top-rated schools, and walkable town centers that give them community feel that they're looking for. If that got your interest, stick around because later I'll break down the exact numbers on how much money families are saving by actually making this move to the burbs. Okay, but despite all the talk about outbound migration, Chicago's median home sale price of around $385,000 is still 20 to 30% below comparable coastal markets like San Francisco at $1.5 million and California statewide around $830,000. That affordability factor still sustains modest demand, especially from people who are priced out of cities like San Fran, Seattle, or even parts of New York. So this internal migration is actually one of the biggest factors keeping suburban demand so strong. People are coming out here and they're being smart about it. When a family sells their Lincoln Park home for the neighborhood's median of around $760,000 and moves to Frankfort, where the median is something like $675,000, they can purchase a brand new construction home, but with close to twice the square footage and still have a little bit of money left over. The inventory story is where this market gets really interesting because it's actually completely different depending on where you're looking. Popular suburbs are averaging just 1.7 months of supply, and that's down significantly year over year according to market reports. Anything less than 6 months of supply is a seller's market, and anything below 3 is a strong seller's market. So that should tell you where things are in the suburbs. Buyers have limited choices, and sellers have the leverage to be choosy about their deals. The city, however, is telling a totally different story. Downtown condo inventory was down 8% from May of 2024, but here's the key. The ones that are on the market, they're taking a lot longer to sell. The longer market time gives buyers more room to negotiate on price, closing costs, and other terms. So if you're a condo buyer in the city, this is your moment. You can take your time, evaluate your options, and potentially get a better deal than you would have just 6 months ago. And there's more to this. New single-family permits in the city of Chicago continue to show mixed patterns year over year. But in the suburbs, approval pipelines remain significant, particularly in places like Oak Park and Berwyn. Builders are responding to where they see demand, and right now that demand is heavily suburban. The construction pattern is going to shape supply for the next few years, more suburban inventory eventually, but that takes time to come online. In the short term, suburban supply is super tight. Let me break down how the numbers are shifting. Here's the math that's changing everything for buyers and sellers, and why creative financing is becoming essential. With 30-year fixed rates hovering near 6.5%, the monthly payment on a $350,000 home is around $2,200 for just the principal and interest. That's up 12% from 2023. When you add in taxes, insurance, and PMI, you're looking at monthly payments that can easily hit $3,000 or more. For many buyers, that payment increase shrank their buying power by $50,000 to $75,000 compared to where they were just 2 years ago. This is where the city versus suburb comparison gets interesting, because Cook County's effective rate runs around 2%. On a $400,000 purchase, that difference can save you over $1,000 annually. Over the life of your 30-year mortgage, we're talking about $33,000 in savings. Those tax differences are real, guys, and they're factoring even more into buying decisions more than ever before. So we've got to get creative about financing. Lender-sponsored rate buydowns, 2-1 temporary buydowns, and even interest-only options for the first few years are becoming more and more common. And these strategies can actually reduce your initial monthly payment by $300 to $500 a month, making homes affordable that wouldn't have worked with traditional financing. The key is working with a lender who understands these programs like the back of their hand, and they can structure them properly. I actually purchased my current home a little over a year ago using a 2-1 temporary buydown strategy. I'm actually in close communication with my lender now about what a refinance will look like, because the first 2 years have been extremely affordable and I want to continue lowering that monthly payment. So I'm constantly communicating with my lender about when a good time is to refinance. Okay, now let's get specific about what's happening in individual neighborhoods. This is where you'll see the biggest differences in buyer leverage and seller strategy. So let's start with the West Loop. This area is seeing price declines of around 13%, but days on market have stretched to about 50 days. That's longer than what we saw last year, which gives buyers moderate leverage, especially with all the new construction coming online, providing alternatives. The South Loop is actually showing price growth at 8%, and homes are selling in about 60 days on market, but buyer leverage is lower here because there's high investor bidding activity. River North is experiencing price declines of 3% and about 66 days on market. Inventory is basically flat compared to last year, so you've got moderate buyer leverage. Heading over to Lincoln Park, it continues to be one of the strongest city neighborhoods with 12.5% price growth and just 40 days on market. Inventory is down significantly year over year, so if you're buying in Lincoln Park, you have very little leverage. Now let's talk about where the real action is, the southwest suburbs. Frankfurt is seeing 22.5% price growth, with homes selling in just 62 days on average. Inventory is super tight year over year. This is bidding war territory, and buyers have very little leverage. The same story is playing out in Mokena, New Lenox, Homer Glen, Lockport, and Palos Park, as well as Lamont. And wait until you see the suburb where homes are selling so fast, most buyers, they don't even get a chance to see the house before they're under contract. Naperville continues to be one of the strongest suburban markets, with 3.5% price growth and homes selling in just 48 days. Inventory here also remains tight year over year. Hinsdale, Oak Brook, and Barrington are showing mixed patterns with some price corrections. But Oak Park is emerging as a sweet spot for buyers who want affordability without giving up access to the city. While some sources show price declines, other sources indicate strong appreciation of over 18%, with homes selling in about 45 days. And Berwyn is showing a 10% price rise with 60 days on market. The growing arts community and ongoing streetscape improvements are attracting buyers who want an urban feel at suburban prices. So here's exactly how to position yourself as a buyer or a seller based on everything we just covered. If you're buying in the suburbs, you need to come prepared for battle. Get pre-approved with a strong lender, have your down payment ready, and be prepared to make decisions quickly. In markets like Frankfurt, Naperville, and other hot suburbs, homes are getting multiple offers. You might need to waive certain contingencies or make an above asking price deal just to compete. But here's a strategy that's working. Focus on homes that need minor updates or cosmetic work, because most buyers want move-in ready, so you can sometimes get a better deal on a home that needs paint, flooring, or kitchen updates. In the city, especially for condos, you have more time and more leverage. You can be more selective, negotiate harder on price, and potentially get the seller to cover closing costs or make repairs. Now, if you're selling in the suburbs, you're in a strong position, but you still need to price competitively. Overpricing, even in a hot market, can cause your home to sit while similar properties sell around you. So a good strategy is to price it at or a bit below market value to gain multiple offers, and then let the buyers bid up to the price that you want. In the city, especially with condos, you need to be more mindful about pricing. But there's one more financing strategy that can totally change your approach, especially if you're looking at specific suburbs. Let me tell you about programs that most people don't even know that exist. This is not a market where you want to go it alone or work with someone who doesn't understand the current dynamics. What you got to do is partner with a mortgage advisor early in the process. Explore rate buydowns, local down payment assistance programs like the Chicago Housing Authority's $20,000 grant or Cook County's up to $25,000 assistance. Bet on creative financing options that can maximize your purchase power or your net proceeds. For buyers, consider working with lenders who have construction to permanent loans if you're looking at new builds in the suburbs. For sellers, think about offering to buy down the buyer's rate as part of your negotiation strategy. In a market where affordability is challenging, a seller who can reduce the buyer's monthly payment by $200 to $300 through a rate buy down will get their home sold faster and for a better price. Anything helps these buyers, guys. So as you've seen, the Chicago housing market in 2025 is definitely entering a balanced phase. Now, success depends on your understanding of the specific dynamics of your target area. Urban prices and sales are cooling, giving buyers more leverage, especially in the condo market. But suburban competition remains fierce, with markets like Frankfurt, Naperville, and LaGrange seeing bidding wars and rapid sales. If you need help navigating Chicago's shifting market balance, no matter if you're buying or selling, my team and I would love to help you. Shoot me an email at john@syntagerealestate.com. And let's create a strategy that positions you to go after the home that you really, really love. But speaking of suburban transformation, you need to see what's happening in Chicago's southwest suburbs. Click on my next video to discover the incredible developments and infrastructure projects that are turning quiet towns into exciting destinations. I'll see you there, guys.